Normal sex and normal sexual activity is going to cure your sexual dysfunction. This includes porn. This includes sexual erectile dysfunction. This includes premature ejaculation. All these different dysfunctions that you have, your feelings of inadequacy, your feelings of not feeling confident as a man are going to get cured from you being socially and sexually healthy. Now, this is more about sex rather than the social part, but they both work in that way. And it's so important to understand that. We are talking about that tonight. We're talking about the differences of porn and real sex and how that comes into play and how it confuses so many men. But the answer or the demon that we're looking for is like, no more porn or porn is evil or whatever is not the answer that's going to give you the solution. The solution is that you see yourself as an empowered man. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about getting in that solution and what we can do. So this is the TSL Podcast. I'm Steve Mayeda. What is happening, people? It's Wednesday night. It's almost midnight on the 23rd of August. And we are on a TSL line call, or we're actually on an MD Excellence call. These come from our communities or Facebook Lives. This one is our community call that's been going for 4 hours now. That's awesome. Check out the free stuff link down below if you want to be a part of that. You can also download our different PDFs that we give away for free. You can check out different videos on that free stuff link. You can get into our free communities on that free stuff link. But most importantly, check out what we're doing and be involved in it. There is no reason for you to be doing this alone outside of a community. Contribute. It's key. And if you want to get the best contribution, AMD Plus or MD Excellence. Those are key. Those are key. AMD Plus, one-time fee. You get put in a community of paid guys that are actively working on it on a board where if you are inactive, you get kicked off. So there's awesome stuff. Or Men's Development Excellence is where we have these calls. It's fucking awesome, man. It's the best $60 a month you'll spend. At the current date of the 23rd of August, that's what it charges. So anyway, that all being said, how this came up was we were talking about what does dominating a woman mean to you? This actually came up on our Sunday call on the 20th. And now we're still talking about on the 23rd. What does dominating a woman mean to you? And all these guys talked about all this porn stuff. And one of the dudes actually, Terrence, he says, man, but see, the difference is real sex is different from porn. And when you're not having real sex and you don't know the power of real sex, porn becomes this other thing. Porn becomes a fantasy and it becomes so melded into your natural drive to have sex, which you're never going to get rid of, which has a whole spectrum of you involved in it that could be good, bad, intense, dark sides, happy sides, lovemaking, fucking domination, whatever it is. But it's porn. It's incomplete. It's not there. It's not bad. Masturbation's good. It's a huge part of what we are as men, but we've demonized it. And one of the reasons also why we demonize it is because sex by nature is such a private thing. Sex by nature is something that it's hard to talk about. You're even motivated not to want to talk about. It's hard to articulate it because it requires a different part of your brain. And it's so much different than your natural self. So one of the things when it comes to porn and masturbation, or even masturbation with magazine porn or without porn or just imagination, is it's a private moment. And so when we walk into those private moments, and there's so much that we've done on porn and masturbation, I'll put a link to it, but you should watch the Everything You Know About Porn and Masturbation is Wrong. It's great. It's a webinar that we did years ago. This is amazing. I also did a speech on addiction with the 21 Convention, which is not released yet at this date, in Miami in 2016. That's great. And you could talk about how we solved it, because we solve over and over again sexual dysfunction in our TSL groups. If you're having problems with sex and you think you can't solve it, we will solve it. Give us 3 months. Well, actually, no, give us 6 months and we will get you living a socially and sexually healthy life, as long as that you are willing to be active. Because that private moment of porn and masturbation, all that stuff which we can't articulate, we go down a rabbit hole of very intense stuff, which is only alone. But here's what happens if we're naturally sexually active. All those same things happen. We feel the same urges of sex. We feel those same urges which think we want to dominate, we want to fuck hard, we want to have taboos, we like little stuff, we like big stuff, we like secrets, we like shame, we like domination, whatever it is. There's such a huge spectrum, but we express it with somebody where we have reciprocity. Or sometimes they don't like it. And we all know what it's like when you have bad sex. There's a feeling of that same feeling of like, oh fuck, man, the death inside, the shame that you feel, the guilt, the rumination, walking away from that sex act, thinking about how it could have been better or what we were doing wrong or right and so on. Man, there's so much to it. So the thing is sex is so normal. Sex is such a normal thing, but when we're not having it, we have no point of reference. So a guy who's sexually inactive, he may have let's say it's not porn. This was another thing that came up on our boards. Oh man, I hear French women are so amazing, da da da, which was actually something that I heard when I was like 14 or 15. If you have not been with a French prostitute, you have not lived. And I kept thinking, oh, this is amazing. But the thing is women are women. Sex is sex. And it's an awesome thing. And so many women have their own different unique qualities of sex. But we need to get there. And if we're not there, and if we're a kid and we haven't experienced it, we don't know, we don't have a point of reference, it becomes this huge window. And the less sexually active we are, we go, that huge window keeps us from our desires. Oh my God, I'm different. I have small hands. I'm short. I'm tall. I have a quiet voice. I have a loud voice. This is my reason why I can never be happy. I'm Asian. I'm whatever. I'm African. I'm Indian. I can't be sexually happy because of these things. We build this horrible belief system around it that if we get sexually active, it cures. Now, let me just tell you, by sexually active, I mean sexually active and healthy. So it doesn't mean you just fuck a chick. It doesn't mean you get a one-night stand. It doesn't mean you empower yourself through the pickup industry and you go like, oh my God, now I'm like this and that, blah, 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 blah. It means that you are connecting with somebody. And most likely you're sexually active with a lot of people and you build the sexual language within yourself. This takes more than a year. This takes more than just a few girls. I remember I was talking to a guy and I was like, look, man, but you just don't have that much experience with sex. And he's like, I had sex with 8 women this year. And I'm like, before that? 3 my whole life, So in that's actually a pretty big number, but also having sex with just 8 women once or twice isn't enough to build the language of who you are and what you are. What we need to do is we need to realize that it's not about fucking 20 women. It's about fucking one woman multiple times, going through our experience and our expression to feel her, to get that. And that what we get from that, man, we learn a lot about ourselves and about that woman. And then you move on to another woman and she's very different. But then there's some similarities that you can't really articulate of how she's the same as the other girl, but they moan different, they move different. She makes you come different. There's so many differences, but man, it builds a new language of yourself and your sexuality and a language of you and her. See, we influence each other. And see, this is an interesting thing. I should have brought this up earlier. When we get into porn, because where we talked about sexual dominance, how do you dominate a woman? Porn is done for performance. When I watch the different people who are having sex in the different ways, like in one of the podcasts the other day that I recorded, I was talking about Rocco Stefanato. He's an amazing porn star. He's great, but he's also a performer. And there's so much that I like about his performance that I could go in passionately about and how much he taught me about sex, but he's a performer. He's doing it for show. He's doing it so the audience, you watching porn, can jerk off and like it better. And it's something which isn't realistic. When you get to that, let's say he's pumping, or Pierre Woodman, another guy, you may not know him. He's old school. He's badass. But one of the things is he'll do the same sequence of sex, right? And he did a lot of porn in the 90s into the thousands, but a girl would be on top of it. She'd be riding him and he'd pump, hard. So he's on his back, moving his pelvis up for like a minute and a half. Maybe it's 30 seconds of him doing that. In the reality of sex, and to achieve the same result of domination, whatever he's doing or Rocco's doing, I would need to do about 1/10 of that to get the same feeling of domination, empowerment, to have her feel like she fucked good. If you look at our videos like the man with the golden dick and so on, which you should, man, if you want to fuck good, that'll tell you what you need to do. But you also got to be sexually active to be learning about it, or else it's just fantasy, right? But in order to do that, let's say I did the Pierre Woodman and a girl's on top of me and I wanted to pump. I do it for maybe 5-6 seconds. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4. That's probably enough to give her the feeling of like, oh my God, you rocked my world. This is just such a small sliver of the normal sex or passive sex that I'm having, but I had little moments where there were aggressive accident, maybe 5 throughout the whole 20-minute sexual experience. And the result that comes from that is that girl will be like, Jesus Christ, I've never been fucked that hard, which has been said to me hundreds of times by hundreds of different women. And that is very different than the performance aspect of porn. When I'm not sexually active, when I don't have, or I am sexually active, but I don't have a sexual relationship with myself, or I know what that is, that becomes very, very confusing. Look, sex is super normal. It's just sex. It's not a big deal. It's something which is very natural. It's an expression of your body, just as much as needing to go to the bathroom or needing to breathe or needing to talk to somebody. Sex is something that you are born to do and made to do, but you have to see it as normal. The more you make it a big deal, the more it has to remain a big deal. And the more you make it a big deal and it's never achieving that result, there has to be something wrong with either the world around you, that's women, people, and this huge frustration that men build up around it, or you. And usually it's a combination of those two, hating the world and hating yourself, all because you haven't gotten into the normal mode of sexuality. Where this comes into play is so many guys walk in with, they can't get it up, they can't maintain an erection and so on, and they watch some TED Talk on how that ruins their life and porn and this and that, and it's this demon. Look, your body will kick over. You might need 10 women with sex with them 3 times in order to get a normal sexual functioning. But you know what? It's going to actually be a lot less than that. You need to start getting comfortable with your sex drive, and it's not going to be comfortable first. The first 3, 4, maybe 5 times you might go through not being able to perform, ejaculating too quick, not being able to get it up and so on. And there's other factors that have to do, especially with premature ejaculation. But you have to get used to sitting in the pocket of your sexuality with somebody, allowing your sexuality to have a voice, allowing it to show who it is and what it is and who you are so that they can affect you and you affect them. And when you get there, that's what's going to make you satisfied, her satisfied, and everybody totally sexually fulfilled. In fact, if you want to have a woman do all the things that they say in porn, like worship your dick or totally submit to you, it has very little to do with how you fuck. It just means you got to like how you're fucking, and you got to be able to deliver it honestly yourself and just be good enough. That will get you massive results rather than the big things, the running from your insecurities or the inability to be yourself, which is running from your insecurities. Learn how to have sex in a good way, which is you. There's plenty of videos that we have on tutorials on how you can do that in a very, very normal way. Listen to those, watch those, go out, fuck, get laid, all that sort of good stuff. That's what this podcast is about. If you like it, subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher where you can listen to it. But if you want to stream the bandwidth, YouTube, that's where to watch it. You get different playlists of so many different things, of so many different topics that we talk about, and of course, the topics of men's development. Interact with us, leave a comment, tell us what you think, and man, we'll talk to you guys later in the day because we're always going, we're always listening. Be a part of our calls, be a part of our communities. Free stuff linked down below, and join in this discussion and talk to you tonight.